What's happening everyone, SirJames from Gamerfuzion.com, and today I'm here to provide you guys with my review for the Yakuza 0. Now, if you haven't played the games before, what's nice about this one, even if you are a new player, is that this one serves as a prequel to the long-running series, which is set in Japan's criminal underworld, where this entry introduces a mainstream protagonist known as Kazuma, and of course you have a regular known in past entries known as Goro, as you basically are fighting your way through Tokyo and Osaka, and the clubs through the Osaka ranks. Now, there's a lot more details involving the storyline, but I don't want to dive too much into that because I feel like I will lead into spoilers. But the thing is, the whole point that you have here is that you have this whole main Japan's criminal underworld, and there's a lot of shady stuff that's going around, and that's quite interesting, something that you'll definitely enjoy throughout the storyline. Next up, I want to go ahead and talk about the game's graphics, because you do know that where this game takes place does exist in the real world, and it's one of the situations where you're looking at the game and thinking to yourself, how cool would it be to visit a place like that at least once in your life? That's how I felt while playing this game. But the visualization and the amount of detail that's been put into the title was actually quite impressive. Even during the cutscenes, I know they did the cutscenes about two different ways, where you have kind of a 2D cutscene where you have some art style with characters talking, and then of course you have the full stop motion thing going on, or the expression and the details on the characters looked really good, especially in today's standards. For a 2017 title, it's definitely one of those, you could tell it's a current gen hardware title, not something that you'd see back in the day on old hardware. Of course, not only that, the landscapes, the scenarios, and just the amount of details, whether it's food being presented on screen, which there are restaurants you can visit, other locations that you get to see, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But overall, for the most part, the visualization was definitely spot on. Even though I've never played a Yakuza game before in the past, playing this one now, since this one serves as a prequel, I'm actually pretty impressed, and it's one of the situations where I definitely want to check out the other titles. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the gameplay, because the gameplay portion of this is actually quite fun. So first off, not only do you have a heavily story-focused title here, but at times where you're actually able to do activities. There's a bunch of different side things to do, but the main highlight I should say, is its combat system, because this is a beat 'em up, a brawler type game. So when you beat up people, it's not just like a typical beat 'em up game where, okay, I beat up the guy and that's it. When you beat up people in this game, you are literally beating the living crap out of people in this game. And how brutal and deadly it is very satisfying, especially with how smooth the frame rate is, because this is at a 60 frames, but everything is butter smooth, it's brutal, and of course it's always fun when you go and pick up random objects like a desk or a piece of furniture of some kind and just throw it against people, running and drop kicking people down, throwing them over ledges, out windows, shoving their faces in urinals, just all sorts of different crazy things that you're going to basically be surprised at what you're going to encounter as you play this game. But the combat system feels great, it is great, and that's probably going to be the main enjoyment besides the storyline that you're going to get involved here. Also too, there's again a bunch of different side activities that you can do, a lot of places you can go to. I don't want to spoil too much in terms of what you can do, but one of the main things that you get to do, if you love dancing based games, or karaoke I should say, there is a section where you get to perform karaoke songs and kind of build bonds and stuff, so that's always fun to do. Besides the single player aspect, they also have a 2-player versus mini games where there's a variety of different things you can do. There's also online versus mini games, you can participate online involving those activities. There's also the climax battles, there's an online mode, and of course a replay setting. So if you've done something in the past and you want to kind of do that portion again, you also have that option within the main menu, and of course your option settings and new game continue, all the typical fun stuff. But for the most part, the gameplay is definitely solid. Like I said, the combat, I did notice though, is that I kind of feel like there's difficulty spikes within the game, because for me, when I played it the first time around, I played it on normal, but there's a few moments where I felt like the game just kicked it up 2 levels higher because of how brutal things were, and of course of how scarce in terms of getting health items were located within the title, and of course probably due to the fact that I didn't really stock up on this prior to heading into another main event or another main boss fight of some kind. But for the most part, gameplay is rock solid, and I feel like you are going to enjoy the combat system if you enjoy beat 'em up games. Now, going over the sound aspect of the game, since I've never played any of its previous titles, I don't know if the voice actors are the same as before or if these are completely different characters, but as far as I'm aware from what I've seen, listened to, and experienced, is that the voice acting was definitely rock solid. Any character that looked menacing, especially when it comes to the crime bosses, definitely had a voice that fit that character, so everything worked properly in terms of its storyline. And of course, let us not forget the music. The music in this game, let's just say it's kick-ass. In a way, it reminds me of Metal Gear Solid Rising Revengeance, where you're hacking away, listening to awesome music. I got that same vibe while playing this game, and because of that experience, I'm just kind of wondering, since this is a prequel, I'm now curious of what the other games are going to be like, since I don't know what number this is in terms of installment, but as far as the storyline goes, this definitely intrigues me and wanting to check out the other games, but sound aspect is definitely top notch. Now, going over the game's lifespan, you're definitely going to find a lot of different activities to do. Not only do you have the main storyline, but of course, if you're a completionist, there's a lot of small things to do. Not only do you have the online option, the 2-player mode, the fact that you can replay segments and kind of get a better score, and of course you also have your abilities between your 3 different fighting styles that you're going to try to max out, which is going to take you quite a while, because some of those abilities, especially the further you go down the line, at first it starts off easy with like 4,000 experience, the next thing you know you need 1 million, then you need 30 million. Again, it gets pretty crazy. But with the amount of activities that you have within the main storyline and the side activities, like the karaoke segment, for example, you're going to find numerous of different things to kind of keep you busy, sidetracked. And that's kind of one of the things I really like about this game, is the fact that half the time I didn't do anything. I just kind of walked around the city, kind of figure out what is going on, until eventually some gang just saw me and is like, hey, I want to beat you up. And then of course I show them who's boss. But for the most part, there's definitely a lot of things to do here. And if you are a completionist and you're trying to go for the trophies, then again, you should be pretty much quite busy. And of course, definitely playing it on a higher difficulty level is definitely going to prove a challenge in my opinion. Now, going over the game's innovation, I can't really put the pieces together in terms of what's different and what has changed from previous installments up until now, since I've never played those. But for the most part, this game is definitely enjoyable. I feel like you're going to get your money's worth right off the bat. And if I were to give it a rating out of 10, I would easily give this a 9 out of 10. The game does start off a bit slow because again, it is heavily focused on the storyline, but it kind of needs to do that to kind of set up exactly what's going on. Otherwise, you're going to forget once you start just beating up people initially why you're there in the first place. But once the story picks up, you're going to find a lot more things to do, more items that you get to unlock and kind of explore. It's definitely when you get to kind of mix around with your fighting poses. But overall, again, a 9 out of 10 is what I'm going to be giving this game. If you're a big fan of the series, I feel like you're definitely going to get your money's worth here. But if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.